Welcome to another edition of What's the Big Idea, where we hear big ideas from the leading voices shaping current and emerging best practices in the professional and nonprofit world. I'm your host, Hank Boyer, CEO and founder of Boyer Management Group. Today, we're speaking with Raymond Lee, who is CEO of Careerminds, a company he founded in 2008. Raymond, welcome to What's the Big Idea. Tell us about Careerminds. What does your team do?
Hey Hank, great to be here. Thanks for having me. So Careerminds is an outplacement firm, and what we do is we work with organizations who are going through a reduction in force. We help their employees transition into new jobs successfully.
So I'm curious, what led you to start the company in 2008?
Well, I have a long career in human resources, so
Hmm.
I've seen outplacement on both sides of the desk. I was impacted and used outplacement. I also managed contracts. And in 2008, when the recession hit, I saw a great opportunity to disrupt a very traditional outplacement model.
So what makes Career Minds different from other outplacement providers?
Well, we take a virtual approach. So the industry is primarily brick and mortar, which has been around for 30 years, where employees generally would go into an office to receive services. Our core differentiator is everything that we do is delivered virtually. So over Zoom, Skype, email, etc.
So when I think about career transitions, I think about stress. How does your team help its clients deal with stress and that whole topic?
Yeah, that's a great question. It is very stressful to lose your job, particularly if it's not expected. And we take an approach where we do all the heavy lifting. We recognize how stressful it is to find a job. And so our services are all centered around doing the heavy lifting for that employee so that they can really focus on their dream job.
In keeping with the topic of making career transitions stress-free, you recently published a book on Amazon called Clocking Out. Tell us a little bit about it.
Clocking Out is a book about 10 stories of individuals who have either clocked out of their own situation or they were forced to clock out through a layoff or reduction in force. And these 10 stories are of people who use principles that we talk about in the book that are called choice, mindset, agility, and trust. And so throughout the stories, we leverage these principles in helping people really learn about how do you make a successful transition, whether it's on your own or you're forced to do it.
So what makes choice different from mindset, agility, and trust?
So those four principles, choice is an action. And so what we're trying to convey in the messages in the book is getting people to take action. And
Hmm.
the mindset, agility, and trust are behaviors. And so those behaviors can be shaped in a way that make it easier. And it's funny because I've gotten the question, is a career transition really stress-free? And what I tell people is if you can develop mindset, agility, and
Hmm.
trust, it makes the choice a lot easier for you.
So it sounds to me like people are dealing with some issues of personal adversity. How does that affect both their mindset and their choice?
Sure. We've all experienced a lot of adversity this year. Some of the adversity is very personal, could be family, could be health,
Hmm.
and then also career as well. And part of what we try to do is help individuals think about positioning themselves with the right mindset so they can truly frame their mindset to be thinking about the future so that they can make a choice. And again, it's all about recognizing where you want to go and then making the choices to get there.
So what advice would you give people in all sorts of different walks of life, whether they're an entrepreneur, a professional, a manager, when they're making a career pivot?
I will tell you, this year has been the year of career pivots, whether
Hmm.
it's forced on a person because a company is impacted by 2020 and COVID, or they're just trying to figure out where is my purpose in the world. And I think fulfillment really drives career pivots. If you're in a situation right now where you're just not happy with the company or your boss, you really have to think about, what is it that I want to do? that will fulfill me in my career. And so making that pivot and making that choice is going to lead to your success.
So everyone has some degree of failure in their careers. How should people approach failure and setback?
Well, I always looked at failure as making the wrong decision. And throughout my career and through launching Career Minds, I sort of thought of failure as I made the wrong decision and I'm going to learn from that failure. But the thing that I recognize is that failure is also the inability of making a choice. And so what I mean by that is if you have a choice in front of you, a direction that you think or that you know you should be taking, but you don't take that direction or you don't make that choice because you don't necessarily know what the outcome is going to be as a result of that choice, oftentimes people are reluctant to make the choice. That's failure as well.
We've been speaking with Raymond Lee, CEO and founder of Careerminds, here on What's the Big Idea. Raymond, what's the big idea you'd like viewers to take away from our discussion today?
Well, I feel like the big idea is that choices rest on you. And every day when you wake up, you have the ability to make a choice. You can stay the course in whatever it is that you're doing in your career, your life, or you have the ability to make a different choice. You can pivot. You can go into a different direction. You have that choice every day. And so whether you clock out of your organization or your situation, you have the choice to do that. And I would say challenge yourself and be brave, be strong.
Excellent. Raymond, where can people find you?
Well, I'd like to think, Hank, I'm all over the place, but to make it easy, I would say you can connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm always welcoming new connections there. I've launched a website, a personal website, raymondlee.co. Also my company, careerminds.com. Last but not least, if you're interested in buying the book, you can find Clocking Out on Amazon.
I want to thank Raymond Lee for joining us today on What's the Big Idea and sharing his thoughts about choice, mindset, agility, and trust, and making today's show both educational and entertaining. And I'd like to thank our viewers for watching. Otherwise, we wouldn't have a show. For What's the Big Idea, I'm your host, Hank Boyer, reminding you to use the big ideas that you've heard today to make a difference. Goodbye, folks. Until next time.